Growing a successful business is already as challenging as it is, but this next guest knows what a challenge it is to grow one with ADHD. And this is the reason why I felt so compelled to bring her on the show so she can share with you how she went from being a social worker to six-figure business strategist with ADHD. And I feel like so many women could relate to her story and how she really brought her business and really added new multiple income streams of income, all while hacking her way through that journey and navigating the challenges that ADHD brings. And in this episode, she gives you so many great hacks that you can implement today to make your business journey more enjoyable, more sustainable, and more fun. So without further ado, please welcome Nicole Liloia. Welcome to the Powerful Female Leaders Podcast. I'm your host, Anna Patricia Bourgeois, certified business coach. I am here to help you up-level, generate consistent wealth, increase your confidence, attract dream clients, and master your mindset so that you can fully own your power and achieve next level results in your online business and beyond. Every week, a powerful conversation will take place with amazing guests, or I'll share from my experience to help inspire you to start and scale the business of your dreams while being powerfully you. The time has come to stop playing small, stop hiding, and stop waiting. Now is the perfect time for you to passionately pursue your heart's desire as the powerful leader you were born to be. Are you ready? Let's do this. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Powerful Female Leaders Podcast. I am here today with Nicole. Hey, girl.
Hey, thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you. Thank you for coming on the show. So feel free to take us on a journey with you and share with us who you are, what you do, and what got you into what it is that you do.
Yeah, so I actually am a business strategist, primarily for women service providers who are really good at the services they do and working with their clients, but struggle around the business side of things. So they don't really have any systems or processes set up. They tend to get overworked and burnt out because, initially they're really gung-ho about getting one-to-one clients, and then all of a sudden they're tired and exhausted, and they never get to
Mm,
spend time on the boss side of business. And I help them really clean things up and also start to add in new income streams so that
mhm.
they can cut back on so many client hours.
I love that. Yeah, I feel like the more the merrier, right? So where would someone start to like add more income streams?
Yeah, well, I did it myself. I got my master's in social work
Mhm.
and, worked for a few years and then started a private practice. And truthfully, at first I was just like one-to-one clients. That's it. Like, I don't want
Mm,
groups. I don't, want anything else. And this was like 10 years ago before online
mhm.
was really a big thing, different services and stuff like that. So I know that I just got in that position myself where I was like, oh my gosh, like, how the heck
Mhm.
am I going to keep this up? Right. Like, it was like constant, you finish a client and then you're worried where the next one comes from. So
Mhm.
if people find themselves in that position, my clients tend to be either a little bit in the earlier stages where they have a business and have some clients and are like, oh my God, what's next? Or they're in the place where they have a lot of clients, they have pretty steady income, but again, there's just no breathing space. There's a lot of anxiety.
Mhm.
And there's also, they start to feel like they want to be creative again. So it really is starting to look at your assets in your business, like your level of visibility, your audience size, and seeing what your clients' needs are,
Mhm.
and really starting to look at different ways that you could support more people at one time.
Yes, I love that. Really diversifying, how you can get paid and make more impact and change more lives. That's awesome for sure. And I also know that you, like you said, you started as a social worker, and then you also noticed that, you were diagnosed with ADHD. Can you tell us more about that journey as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think that honestly, I did realize that, many
Mm-hmm.
years ago as a social worker, and like mental health was my specialty, like the clinical track
Mm-hmm.
of social work and counseling people and doing diagnoses for others. I definitely always noticed that I had short attention span and I got bored easily and I had struggles with things that were very like monotonous or boring. So I think that was kind of what happened when I started my private practice. I had left the 9 to 5 world years before and done a lot of different kinds of projects and work as a social worker.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of freelanced and had a part time job at the same time, doing meeting planning in the field at a nonprofit. Um, who did continuing education for medical professionals. So I really got to be involved in a lot of projects. And then when I created
Mm-hmm.
my business, it was all focused on doing one thing and the same thing
Mm.
over and over. So I really did struggle. And, at first it was good, it was exciting. But then when I started to master it a little bit, it became boring. Again, I struggled with a lot of the admin side of things, the consistency piece, and I just knew others were struggling with the same thing. So I really had
Mm.
to start looking at making my income different ways.
Mm-hmm.
And I did get diagnosed later on and got medication and stuff like that. But
Mm-hmm.
for a long time, it really was just kind of me hacking my own way through it.
Yeah. So, how important would you say it is to get that validation as a business owner?
Well, I think it's important. I think, especially for females, it's important
Mm-hmm.
because when I was growing up, it was really more about hyperactivity in
Mm-hmm.
guys that was diagnosed and paid attention to. And I've struggled with things like anxiety and depression, but I think that just masked the ADHD, or it was looked at that way. So I think to
Mm-hmm.
really clear my brain and just get out of the brain fog a bit, and also
Mm.
really start to appreciate that I wasn't going to necessarily be able to change all of those behaviors that are sometimes seen as like
Mm-hmm.
shortcomings, right? Like I just kind
Mm-hmm.
of have to find other things that work for me or do things a little differently. So I think it is important in that sense of acceptance and not trying to make systems work that are never going to work for me.
So, how do you know which systems actually work for you?
Well, it's the ones that, click with you and start to you
Mm-hmm.
could, like, kind of stick to for a bit or are a
Yeah.
little easier. But I think also part of it is that I start to outgrow them or they don't work as well because I just adjust to them and I don't
Mm.
notice them. So then I kinda shift into new things. So I think it's,
Yeah.
for those who are like, "Well, I was doing it and it worked," it's also okay if things stop working for you.
Yeah, I love that you said that because I feel like when we start doing something and then we're just familiar and comfortable with it, but sometimes it's like it's really like you can move on, like you can do something new, something fresh that will also help you as well. So it's really like focusing on like that growth mindset as well, I think.
Yeah, and I think it's also just setting, it's very draining to have ADHD or to be a business owner
Mhm.
even without ADHD. We're
Yeah.
handling so much, we're making so many decisions. So I
Yeah.
also think it's just like about finding hacks and getting support in the areas, in the other areas, so we
Mhm.
can give our best attention to our business and our work and other things that interest us. So areas that we have struggles in, like
Mhm.
I really like a clean house, but I can't clean to my own standards because I get bored, like, or I like, organization and things to be set up because otherwise I just really lose a lot of energy if I can't find something,
Mhm.
things like that. So, just even little things that save me a lot of energy, like, having computer charges in multiple areas where I sit,
Mm,
having one in my bag so I could take it to the co-working space, and it's one less thing
mm.
for me to have to search for or look when I could walk out the door. Like, little hacks like that are really great to set up for yourself.
Yeah, I love that. I love those hacks for sure. And yeah, I also know that you talk a lot about like growing a business without a safety net as well. And I'm curious to know like what would you say like what would you give as an advice to someone who like started their business and they just rip off the band-aid and they don't have any safety net? What would you tell them?
Yeah, I mean, that's really hard for me because I haven't had a safety net. I'm a
Mhm.
single person in an expensive area, have to pay for my
Mhm.
own health insurance, and that's been for all of my business 10 years. But I think it's kind of giving yourself permission, very similar to, getting permission to,
Mhm.
buy extra computer charges, even though it seems wasteful or stuff like that. It's the same thing. Like, where can you get that support? And my support, unfortunately, I might have to pay for more support than other people who have help at home or have someone to make dinner. It might mean paying for more dinners out, or getting a cleaning, having a cleaning person, having really
Mm.
good, solid admin support in my business, maybe than someone else who doesn't waste as much energy or doesn't lose focus the same way, or things like that. So it might just mean investing in that for yourself and working that into your business income goals rather than trying to
Mhm.
find ways around paying for that, or feeling
Yeah.
guilty or like shamed for needing different support when you see other people. And also knowing like you don't see what other people get behind the scenes.
Yeah. Oh, I love that you said that because I felt that pressure when I first started to like just invest in like business growth and business
Mhm.
mindset and business strategies. But you also got to think about you and what will make your life easier and save you time and headache and potentially burnout.
Yeah, definitely. And I think being realistic, like with your income, and,
Yeah.
again, like not thinking that other people don't have support just because you don't
Mm.
see it or they're not talking about a specific area of it.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's so important to be transparent, right? When we're growing and sharing our stories about what actually helps us in the behind the scenes.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think it's just like, a lot of people follow mom bloggers
Yeah.
and you don't see the nannies and stuff, right? Like you just see them with 4 kids doing everything. But they have nannies and they have night nurses when they first have kids. And maybe they make a
Mhm.
mention of it once in a while, but that person is there every day doing a
Yeah.
bulk of supporting them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I love this conversation so much. I feel like having that awareness is so key to our growth. And so I ask this to everyone who comes on the show, and I'm curious to know your answer. For you, what does it mean to be a powerful leader?
I mean, for me, and this is the feedback of also what I get from my audience, because I think sometimes, it's not what we know we do, but it's like what
Mhm.
others tell us is, I was just on a call with one of my new clients the other day, and she was just like, thank you for being so honest. And I
Mm.
think like it's sort of like those people who don't share the systems or setup. Like they're like, I have passive income, but they really don't because they're doing so much work behind the scenes, or they have a second income so they could spend more on ads or growth
Mm.
or other support that maybe someone else can't, right? Maybe they left a corporate job where they have like a big savings. I didn't as a social worker. I had big school debt, grad school debt. But I think so just being like transparent and honest, and not not covering up that like we don't like aspects of business too. Like there's things I
Mm.
still don't like. There's things that still become a problem for me.
Mhm.
You like, just like I said, things work and they don't. Like it's kind of the same thing with business. Like I might like something for a while and then I'm over it. And then I might like it again 2 years down the road. You just really don't know.
Yeah, I'm the same way. And it's okay to change your mind too. And it's okay to take breaks as well.
Yeah, and I think like, that is the piece, like just being honest about it so
Yeah.
that, people who don't connect with it, um, that's okay. Like not making yourself into a chameleon to be liked by everyone or get every sale.
Yeah. And I also like what you said about the passive income. Like how hard would you say it is to like set up a totally passive, hands-off income stream?
Well, that's not real. So
Yeah.
first of all, that's not real. But
Yeah.
because I do talk about multiple income streams, I do get a lot of people who like in the
Yeah.
consult are like not even making consistent income to support themselves yet and are like, I want
Mm.
something passive. And I think
Mm.
it is because one, of course, we want a dream, right? Like, of course,
Mm.
that sounds amazing. But also, I think because there are leaders out there, you know, twisting things or only telling certain aspects of what's going
Mm.
on. Um, or we block out certain aspects and don't give credit to like every little thing that person has, and we only look at certain things and, you know, think it's a lot easier than it is or a lot more realistic. But I really think the only type of passive income like is investments, but like you still kind of
Mm.
have to keep your eye on it.
Yeah.
And that's also dependent on the economy a bit. So I think for sure things like that are passive, but I think when it comes to business, you know, I think people grow teams because they think they're passive and they're not. You know, you have to manage a
Mm.
team, you have to support them, you have to market them. So I think it's more rather than looking at for passive income, it's looking for, you know, leveraged income. How can we help more people, um, you know, and make more money without having to see so many one-to-one clients? And then I think it's
Mm.
also just knowing that there's always going to be work involved. So I think what tends to feel more passive are things that you enjoy in that moment.
I love that. Yeah, if you enjoy it and you have fun with it, it's gonna be so easy to be like consistent with it as well.
Yes, exactly. And that's what grows more income.
Yeah. Ah, so good. Awesome. So, do you have, any last piece of wisdom that you'd like to share with our audience today?
Yeah, I mean, I think that be willing to experiment and not write things off. I think that's something that's really hard for me is like I don't
Mm.
like to experience like I don't like to experiment or I don't want to go to things I don't know. Like I really avoided groups in the beginning.
Mm.
But I think like it's okay to be willing. I think that is part of being a strong, you know, business owner and leader is like not making decisions about things we haven't tried. Like they're
Mm.
completely out. Like things that I like for visibility or things that I never thought I would. And things that I still recommend to do are things that I don't necessarily do the best or not good at or do consistently because I have other things that I've been able to grow, right? So,
Mhm.
but I had to do a lot of the same stuff in the beginning. Like what works, works, you
Yeah.
know? It kind of
Yeah.
sucks, but
Yeah.
it's true. Not always what we want to work works.
Yeah, that's so true. You gotta get you gotta find a way to make it enjoyable because everyone needs to do the AKA boring stuff.
Yeah. And so many times my clients are like, "Oh my god, this really works. I'm so mad at you. I know I didn't believe you, but it really does work." And they sometimes enjoy it. And a lot of times they're enjoying it even more than I enjoy certain aspects of things, you know, and I enjoy
Yeah.
things they don't. So I also don't believe
Mhm.
in like making everyone do what I do.
Yeah, it's really about helping them find their own path and their own way of doing things and what really works for them and their energy for sure.
And yeah, and what they're able to do in that moment. Like if you don't have an audience, email marketing just isn't gonna like bring in the sales. You can't rely on that, right? If you haven't
Mm.
nurtured them or grown
Mhm.
an like online audience, like it's still gonna be like people who you know.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean it won't work in the future, but it's not something that's gonna be reliable just because I feel it that way. And I think that's important as a leader too, is really thinking about like where your clients are at, right? Like they
Yeah.
can't, some of what I have right now, it's 10 years in. If they're 1 year in, they don't have the same things, you know?
Yeah. Like for every level, there's different things that come up and different mindset things and strategy things to look at and work on at every level.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes it's the old stuff that comes up again
Yeah.
that we thought we'd be, unfortunately.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. And I'm sure people will want to know like where they can go to connect with you, find you, learn more about your services or your freebies. So let us know where they can go.
Yeah, I recommend, if you're just looking to get more organized and really be aware of like how you're going to bring in income and how you can add in new income streams and what's involved with that.
Mhm.
I think the best thing is to download my consistent income generator toolkit, which really takes you through setting a strong income goal, whether you're newer in business or further along with different income streams. And you can download that at Nicole Liloia, NicoleLoia.com/CIG.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. It was so awesome to meet you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Powerful Female Leaders podcast. If you love this episode, make sure to spread the message, leave a review, and subscribe. I would forever be grateful for you. I also want to hear from you, and I want to know your feedback and your questions for future episodes. So don't be shy, say hi, and send me a message at Powerful Female Leaders Podcast on Instagram. Until then, I'll see you on the next episode.